Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is David, and today we have the weekend reading report. Um, I had hoped to do this on Friday, but I'm going to get to it today. And so I've got a lot of things to kind of chat about, so this is almost more of a callback to the old mishmash than anything else. I'm going to start first and foremost with two orders of business. So before I get to what I've been reading, what I'm currently reading, what I finished, etc., I'm going to start, first of all, with the 500 book challenge and talk about that. I am officially done counting things for the 500 book challenge because I found that it was impacting too much of my mental space as I was trying to decide what to read and keeping tabs on things, and it just was ruining the joy of a little bit of the process. Now, I'm still going to stick by the vast majority of this. Okay, I'm going to only look at picking up books by booktubers, or if I get a gift card or something of the like from somebody. I've got a birthday coming up in June, so I imagine I'll probably get a book or two at that point in time. If I get an Audible credit or something like that, a free trial, I'll gladly use those. But so books by booktubers, any kind of a buddy read, group read type of thing, and comic books. As Michael K. Vaughan has said, comics are, not part of the 500 book challenge, and so I'm going to stick with that. So I am sticking on the majority of the book buying ban, so to speak, until one of two things happens. Either I have zero unread books in my collection, which will take a while, or until Michael K. Vaughan is done with the 500 book challenge himself. Fail or pass. I jumped on as a moment of solidarity with him, as a way of saying no one should do this alone. And I regret nothing on that, but I'm not going to keep track. I don't care if I've done 60 books or 600 books by the time he's done. It doesn't matter to me. That's not anything that's of interest to me particularly. So I'm in it every step of the way until he's ready to be done. Whether that's in 5 hours or 5 years, or until I have nothing left to read that I haven't revisited. So there's the unofficial announcement there. And so next I'm going to do a book haul because I have bought some comic books. If you missed it, about a week ago I did an announcement of a 40 before 40 project that I'm going to be undertaking. And I enacted two different things. One, I called for people to leave a comment with a book that they would like to put on that 40 before, I wasn't going to do 40 before 40 with a bunch of recommendations, but I did open it up, and I'm going to take a couple of them and run with those. So I'll have that video linked down below so that you can hop over there and leave a comment with a book. Just one book per person. Let me know one thing, and I'll put it on a wheel. I'll spin it in a couple weeks, maybe on my birthday, to give myself a calendar year to get through them. And I look forward to that. And then the other thing I announced was that I'm going to read 40 different X-Men comic stories between now and when I turn 40, which is going to be a little over a year from now. And so, of course, I started scouring to try to find good prices and whatnot. So I've done a little bit of online shopping because I had a little bit saved up for that. And I had some store credit saved up at my local comics shop that is also a board game shop. So I picked up a couple of things there. And so now I have stuff to get underway on what I'm doing here. I'll also have link down below an Amazon list of the ones that I don't have yet, in case anybody's interested in seeing what other ones are on the horizon. It's not an all-extensive list or an all-inclusive list, because there's one or two that are still on its way. But it'll give you an idea of some of the highlights I'm going to be hitting. So the first one I have here is X-Men Battle of the Atom. So if you know from the origins of X-Men, Children of the Atom is one of the first story arcs. And so this is a callback to their early days, which is why you see them in those throwback outfits right there on the front. So this has got looks like 10 issues in here across 5 different series, so two out of each. So I'm looking forward to that. It's an old library copy from elsewhere. I picked up a copy of House of X, Powers of X. This is one that is strongly recommended as a good starting off point for the more recent X-Men story arcs. And so I had to try to get a copy of this, which will eventually lead me into X of Swords, which I'm very excited about. It's a massive event, apparently. And I put in a request through a local library, see if they could get a copy of that, because a brand new copy of it was about $70 at my local store. It looks like about 50 something on Amazon. So I decided, you know what, we'll see if I can get through that and a couple of these other bigger ones without spending a whole lot. I picked up Old Man Logan. So this is the Wolverine run. There's a Wolverine movie that was based off of that arc there that I did enjoy. X-Men Messiah Complex. You can see there Mr. Sinister. I assume he's going to be the main villain for this arc. The one that I am currently reading, House of M, which when I heard that it is kind of what was the basis for some of the arc in WandaVision, I said, you know what? I watched WandaVision. It was fine. I'm curious. So I'm reading through a House of M. I had a hard time putting it down today. I'm attempting to read at least one issue of an X-Men comic a day. I have Uncanny X-Force. This is Final Execution Book 1 and Book 2. And then a couple of incomplete ones. So I've got kind of a sidebar here for Ultimatum. This is not the Ultimatum. So, you know, sometimes when you look at the eBay auction, it just has this. And so I'm like, okay, Ultimatum. I know that. And then when it gets here, I look at the back and I say, oh, okay. Well, none of that is Ultimatum 1 through 5. So I'm still looking for Ultimatum, but I'm assuming I can read that at the same time. I knew this one wasn't going to be Onslaught, but Onslaught is one of them. So this is a prelude to Onslaught. I figured it'd be probably good to get the background leading into the event as well. And then while I was at my local library putting in a request for X of Swords, I checked out Phoenix Resurrection, the Return of Jean Grey, which will go really good. I really enjoyed Dark Phoenix Saga, and so that would be a good one to return to. So there you go. There's my comic book haul. I decided to put it at the front of the video because I know not everybody watches the end, and I figure if nothing else, you'll watch through that to get to the real stuff that you want to see. So let's start with the ones that I've finished, other than Beowulf. Not counting the 4 different translations of Beowulf I've finished this month. I have done Bradbury Speaks. So this is Too Soon from the Cave, Too Far from the Stars. These are essays on the past, future, and everything in between. And they range wildly. Some of them were great. Some of them were good. A couple of them I could have cared less about. the one thing that was constant through it all is Bradbury's writing is just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I realized I forgot to grab it, but pretend I'm holding up Chessmen of Mars from Edgar Rice Burroughs, which was the 5th book in the Barsoom series, which was pretty good. I think it's the lowest point so far. So my least favorite of the 5 that I've read from that series, but still enjoyable. And then I binge read Astonishing X-Men. So this is volume 1, Gifted. I have this in a little small hardcover. This is volume 2, Dangerous. Volume 3, Torn. And volume 4, Unstoppable. And so these were written by Joss Whedon, who Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Firefly. And I was so happy that I had all 4 of these. And I enjoyed the hell out of these. These were fantastic. And it was this series, which I was reading at the time when I decided on my 40 before 40, that, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to check out more of these X-Men, because I'm just absolutely loving every minute of it. And I want to read more X-Men. And so I strongly recommend that. I'm going to try this Wednesday to have a kind of a small review on those, because they're very, very enjoyable. It's a nice, complete story arc there with those 24 issues. And then in the 4th volume, there's also a giant-sized issue at the end. It wraps up really, really well. So now we're going to get to the other things I'm currently reading. I already showed House of M. That's my X-Men comic that I'm reading. So I've got books that I keep down here on a little stand by my reading chair. I've got a couple of books I keep upstairs. So depending on where I'm at, I'm reading certain things. So in each area, I've got it divided into, I've got a comic or 2 in each. I've got a nonfiction in each. I've got a fiction in each. I've got a short story collection or poetry set in each. So we're going to start first by the ones that deviate from that. I have finished the translation of Beowulf, but I still have all the stuff in the back, because this is a Norton Critical edition. And so I was very delighted to see that one of the first ones in here, or one of the ones in here, is when we get to criticism. Tolkien, The Monsters and the Critics. I wanted to reread that anyway this month. So I'll be doing that. This is going to be in one of the 2 locations. I haven't determined where yet, but I'm going to be working my way through that. On my phone, on my Kindle app, when I'm feeling like reading on that, I am reading The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. So this is the 2nd book in his secret project, that mega $1 million Kickstarter that shook the world a while ago, and the writing world. And I'm not enjoying it that much so far. I don't love it. Granted, I'm about 15% of the way in, so there's plenty more that I haven't seen yet. But I'm really, really surprised at how little I am enjoying it. And that's why it's staying on my phone, because I don't read that nearly as often. And so I'm happy to keep that as I'll read it when I get a chance to. So the other book the one I'm reading on my Kindle right now, is actually Ethelred, The End Ready by Levi Roach. I'm enjoying the heck out of this. So this is a Monarchs of England series. I have books 2 through 5 on my Kindle in that series, which takes me up through, from Ethelred, up through, I think, Harold. I have a feeling I'm going to want to get books 1 and then, the next dozen or so, probably up through about Henry the Eighth, maybe. I don't know how far forward I would want to go. I definitely am happy with the ones I have. I'm sad about the one I'm missing in there. But that's one I think I might end up wanting to get them in physical copies at some point in time for my library to be able to reference them at certain points of time, because having a good go-to volume on each of these monarchs would be fantastic. So those are the exceptions. My Kindle also kind of moves around from place to place. So my non-fictions that I'm reading. So I'm going to be starting in on Castles and Warfare in the Middle Ages. I did finish the Bradbury, and I had classified that as my nonfiction. So this is what I'm rolling into next. I'm very excited about this. And I determined that one of these two should always probably be medieval related, and the other one probably should not. So the other one I'm still working through. I'm about 25% left to go on the Bowie biography, and enjoying it quite a bit for a biography. So, short stories. I'm about halfway through an issue of Asimov's science fiction. I just got done reading a Greg Egan, I think it was. Yeah, Greg Egan Night Running, which was not great. And so next I've got The Repair by Mark D. Jacobson. I find this is a good way of getting introduced to some of the current writing voices, but I'm not overly impressed yet. So I'm not sure if I would actually want to do a subscription to them or not. And so I've also determined, so I should have short stories in one spot, and I should continue poetry in the other spot. So we have good old Harold back with me. And likewise, I have more science fiction than anything. So my fiction, I should have a fiction that is science fiction going in one spot. So I've got Exit Strategy by Martha Wells. I'm a little over halfway through on this. This is a Murderbot book, and I absolutely love Murderbot. This is the only one I actually own. I did listen to the first 3 previously, so I'm diving into this. As you can see, this is a nice short volume, and loving the heck out of that. And so the other one should not be science fiction. So I'm working through Enemy of God. This is book 2 in the Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. And it did not take long for me to remember why I absolutely loved the first book, which was The Winter King. So I'm going to try to power through this and Excalibur, I think is book 3, to get that series done and try to finish off a couple of series. And so last but not least, we have a couple of comics here. So I had House of M. I'm also reading Conan the Barbarian. This is an epic collection. I've got just this last one of the Conan ones before I'm done with having Conan comics, unfortunately. But, since comics are no longer off limits, once I get through collecting the X-Men I need, maybe I'll pick up some more of the Conan. I've really been enjoying them. I'm working my way through Superman in the 40s. These are really, really short. So this is a perfect, I've only got a couple of minutes with a cup of coffee or whatever to knock one of these out. And then the big one that I'm going through that's not the X-Men is this monstrosity. So this is Compendium 1 for Saga. I'm, as you can see, I'm closing in on the halfway point. Really, really enjoying this. This is one that I either am reading first thing in the morning before the kids are up, or after the kids are in bed, because there's plenty of pages in here I wouldn't want the kids to see. So, but really, really enjoying the writing in Saga still, and the artwork and whatnot. So it's all just been really enjoyable. And I anticipate at some point in time, the Superman and the Conan will finish, and then I'll be doing just the Saga and the X-Men, working through X-Men. Then after Saga, I don't know, maybe probably Thor. Although this next month I'll probably be trying to knock off the rest of Tales from the Crypt in there. So there you go. There's what I've been reading. So, you know, I'll give an update in about a week. I expect to have finished the Martha Wells at the very least. Hopefully the John Gardner as well. And the Superman in the 40s. And the Asimovs. I'd really like to be done with the Bowie biography too. To just feel like I'm making some progress here, you know? Sometimes it just, you feel like you're just treading water and you're not making much progress. I should also mention what I'm going to be listening to. So I got an email with a free offer to sign back up for Audible. You get a free credit. So your first month is free. And then after that, it'll kick back on. So I signed up. I'm not going to keep it because I don't want to pay $14.99 or whatever. But then I went to go and find a book to listen to in there. And they're having a 2-for-1 kind of special sale. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take a look. And it's about epic, long, lengthy ones. And so there's a lot of, really random ones. Book 6 in a big, massive series or things like that. But I ended up picking up an audiobook of War and Peace, which, after looking through, I don't have a physical copy, and that surprised me. I don't think I have an e-copy either. So this is my copy of War and Peace, and so for the next 55 hours of commute time, I'm going to be listening to War and Peace. And then once that's done, I will either be rolling into a buddy read in June that I've got lined up with Vin from Revenant Reads, or I'll be rolling into the other big long one that I had, which is C.S. Lewis Letters and Essays, which is 30 some hours, which I think will be really, really interesting. So there you go. I've rambled long enough. Well, we'll just cut it here so that I can get back to Martha Wells, try to get some progress in that. And we'll see how quickly this loads up and what I'm feeling like. I might be back for a library tour. I may not. We'll see. Thank you. I will catch you later.